Hello, brothers and sisters. It's a new week, and we're happy to bring you our show titled Speak of Africa. My name is Prince Ojong, your host, and we thank you very much for watching our show. We thank all our subscribers. Our numbers are going up steadily. We thank the subscribers for this. We also thank those who are watching this show for the first time. If this is the first time you are watching the show, please, we encourage you to hit the subscribe button. When you do this, you make sure that when we upload a new video, you receive it immediately. Okay? Please also feel free to share this show with your friends. We are also thanking those who are also sponsoring us, the advertisers on our show. We're going to have more advertisers, and we're going to bring a lot of the ads towards the end of the show. So I'm going to talk about them. For the show of today, the question I ask is, how is Africa this week? Well, a lot has really happened in Africa, but whenever I look at Africa, I tend to look at Africa in a geopolitical context. I look at what is happening in the world, then I try to relate it with what is happening in the motherland. We do this because Africa is not an island on itself. Africa is connected in a global village. So it makes sense to understand geopolitics. We know some people have argued with us that we don't really understand geopolitics, but we welcome the criticism, but we'll continue to prove to them that we understand the world, the way the world operates. When we look at the geopolitics, what is really happening is US-Chinese relations. America has been a superpower and unchallenged since 1991 after the collapse of the Soviet Union. China has been rising. We've spoken about the rise of China on this show many times. And China really wants to unseat the US as the supreme power on earth. The US doesn't want this to happen. So what they are doing is they are taking all kinds of measures to curtail and slow down the pace of China's development. China too doesn't want to take this lightly, but a lot of the competition between the US and China is in the area of technology. China has a big market, the US has a bigger market, but the US doesn't want the Chinese market to catch up to the US market. And the area of competition also has a bearing in the military area. America is the biggest manufacturer and supplier of weapons all over the world. China wants to replace America as the world's biggest supplier of weapons. America has the technology. America has invested a whole lot in research and development. So China just wants to sidestep and just gain what America has spent a lot of money to develop. America holds a lot of patents. Let's take the example of Taiwan. Taiwan is propped by America. Some people ask, Prince Ojong, why is America supporting a very small island? We are here in Amazonia, America is not supporting us. Well, the reasons are strategic. Taiwan is of national interest to the United States of America. Taiwan is the largest manufacturer of semiconductors. When you look at the world today, it's connected, it's a global village, the internet, social media. Semiconductors go behind a lot of the devices we wear. Semiconductors are on our cell phones, devices that you wear, computers, everything you can imagine of in the modern world is powered by semiconductors. So America wants to make sure that China doesn't put its hand on advanced semiconductors anymore. So that's what America has been trying to do. And Taiwan is the biggest manufacturer of all these semiconductors. And for the show of today, we're going to highlight Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. This is the monopoly. They make more chips than any other company in the world. Even Intel depends on Taiwan Semiconductors. Okay? And you can see, because of the threat of China, America has started bringing semiconductor manufacturing from Asia back to the United States. In fact, in Arizona, America is asking Taiwan Semiconductors to build a very big foundry for semiconductor technology. And this is what is happening. Then America is bullying most of the Europeans and its other allies not to transport sensitive military technology to China. So China now is really feeling frustrated. China has even gone to the World Trade Organization to challenge the United States and present its case. And America has asked the World Trade Organization to dismiss the Chinese case as frivolous because they have invested a lot of money in this technology and they don't want China to steal their technology. So even folks who have green cards and who hold US citizenship, they are forbidden from working for Chinese firms. So TikTok is not the only area where America is really trying to beat back China. Semiconductors. Look at Apple. Apple makes most of the cell phones you guys love. Taiwan Semiconductor is Apple's biggest supplier. So now this is what is really happening. So America knows that if, for example, China gets crazy like Russia and attacks Taiwan, it's true the world is going to get into a recession, but America is wondering what will happen to their self-interest. They want to make sure that even if China decides to attack Taiwan, they can still have a foundry for semiconductors and their manufacturing will go on. So that's what is happening in geopolitics. So technology is important. The technology Africans should really be focusing attention on should not really be the internet. Africans need to go back to the basics, okay? Go back to agrarian economy. Build your economy. Agriculture. Start from the agrarian economy. Build this. Mechanize your agriculture. Because when you do this, you'll be able to feed your people. There'll be better security. Because right now, we have a lot of insecurity in Africa. And that's the problem. If we can feed our people, that's the big plus. Okay? And that's why agriculture is really important. On this show, we'll talk about Zimbabwe. I will praise Ernest Nagagwa because I see some positive things going on there. I'm going to talk about it. But for now, let's start with Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso has not really been doing a good job feeding its people. Okay? Self-sufficiency is key. There's a new guy in town, Ibrahim Traore. We've spoken to you about him many times. He was accusing some people of staging a coup d'etat, especially Emmanuel Zungrana. He was accusing the guy of staging a coup d'etat that has failed. So there's a form of paranoia among some of these African dictators. They are worrying about coup d'etats every day instead of focusing attention on helping their people, feeding their people. If you can feed your people, we think that's something positive. But Ibrahim Traore is facing difficult times. In fact, this week we even saw that he has even brought people from the Wagner Group of Russia into his country. He was saying it's a lie, but we'll have pictures which we'll share with you. So he's bringing Russia instead of looking for ways to feed his people. Because when the people are hungry, they will certainly stage more and more coup d'etats. So we're telling him to be careful. Next, we'll move to Chad. Chad is also an area where you have paranoia over coups. Mahamat Deby is thinking that there will be a coup d'etat against him. So he's taking all kinds of precautions. But you cannot coup-proof your regime. It's not possible. You can do that, but coups will always happen when people are determined to kill themselves and take power from you. So that's what is happening in Chad now. He is very, very paranoid about coups. So he's not really giving room for other people to do stuff. He's arresting a lot of people. Mahamat Deby is arresting a lot of people for no good reason, just because he's afraid of coup d'etats. Next, we'll take you to Congo DRC. There's a similar paranoia about coups. Felix Tshisekedi is worried about Joseph Kabila or some other person overthrowing him, so he's not really comfortable. And when you look at Congo DRC, the country is very rich. You look at the mines, there's a lot of artisanal mining going on. This money is not even getting into the coffers of the government. So how is the government going to make money and feed its people? So that's why there's a lot of insecurity. The people are fighting for these resources. Okay? Then we'll take you to Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast is really happy this week because they've been a rapprochement. President Alassane Ouattara received the soldiers who were arrested in Mali. So they returned home peacefully we're happy this crisis has been resolved, but we're saying there is also a paranoia about coups. Because when you look at what Mali did, Mali arrested soldiers of Ivory Coast who were there on a UN mission. He accused them of trying to stage a coup d'etat. So Mali too is just worried about coups. And they are also bringing a lot of the Wagner Group guys into the country. This week, we heard about people who were killed in Mali near Bamako. Why is this happening? Well, Assimi Goïta is not only spending time looking for ways to fight the jihadis. Just fighting the jihadis militarily is not a good solution. We've said it many times on this show. Militarization is not going to help you when people are determined to take you out. So Assimi Goïta needs to learn. He's sitting on a hot seat, and we know he knows that. And he has a lot of enemies in the West, because people are not going to take it lightly when they see him supporting Russia. Russia is coming in and taking all the resources. The West does not like that, and I'm sure the people of Mali also do not like that.
Do you need tax preparation services? We can help. Contact PJ Tax Service, America's only full-time income tax preparers. Like the good old doctor, we do not close our doors after April 15th. In fact, we stay open all year round in order to serve you. We are located at 11207A, Lockwood Drive, Silver Spring, Maryland, 20901. Make an appointment today with Prince Ojong, your tax expert. Call 240-350-1131 or visit us on the web at www.pjtaxservice.com.
Next, we take you to Liberia. In Liberia, we talked to you much about George Weah. This is the soccer star. He's not really doing well. This week, we understand that an armed cache was discovered in Monrovia at the airport. So they are suspecting that an American citizen of Liberian extraction must have hidden these weapons in the airport area. So, but this is already a sign that people are trying to do something to destabilize his regime, because there is so much hunger, the economic crisis is there, there's poverty, the boy from Claratown is not really understanding the needs of his people. So do not be surprised if they take him out in a coup d'etat. Do not be surprised if George Weah is worried about coups right now, because that's what we see from our crystal ball. But the guy who thinks he has really solved the issue with coups is Paul Biya of La République du Cameroon. When you look at his country, back in 1984, he suffered a lot of defeat because of a coup d'etat. He almost lost his life, thanks to the bravery of some guys in the Cameroon forces. Since then, he has done so many things to prevent the soldiers from taking over power from him. He has even created his own army, which is what they call B, Bataillon d'Intervention Rapide. Well, on the 5th of January, we saw the fanfare. The guy was celebrating. He was welcoming members of the diplomatic corps to the presidential palace in Etudi. And we saw that and we laughed about it. The guy is comfortable. At least no coup d'etat has succeeded in the country because he has been able to domesticate the army. He makes it in such a way that the people can steal from the country. So long as you are not his enemy, he will leave you alone. Look at a guy like Amogu Bellinga, who is also in the news right now. He has created a culture of corruption so that people like this can thrive. This is a highway robber. He steals, but he flaunts his wealth. He marries as many women as he pleases because that's what he does with his money. So we even laugh about it. He even sees one of our friends' wives. I will not call the name. So, but that's the environment that you see in La République du Cameroon. You see the palace, the people are celebrating. The people who make them suffer, they are celebrating. Why are they celebrating Paul Biya? Because he's the king. The voodoo guy of Etudi, the wizard of Etudi, they are celebrating him. And you can see even Atanganji. We hear Atanganji, the Minister of Territorial Administration, is in trouble. But he's celebrating because he wants to stay in the good graces of Paul Biya, because he knows he can be arrested any time. So he's worried. So you can see the governor Atanganji with, the Minister Atanganji with all his governors at the palace in Etudi, to welcome or say good wishes to the head of state. So you can see that, but you can also see that things are rough. Coup d'etats are not succeeding in this country because of too much militarization, but it only takes one angry person and things will change for the worse. So even though Cameroon looks like it's calm, things can happen overnight. Then there is the continuation of suppression of people who are doctors from Médecins Sans Frontières. These are Doctors Without Borders. So whenever they treat patients with wounds, sometimes they accuse them of treating terrorists. This is really bad. Doctors learn the art of medicine to treat human beings. They don't distinguish between terrorists and whatever. So it's really a bad sign the way things are happening in La République du Cameroon. We hope the Biya government can take a lesson and try to do the right thing. Next, we'll take you to Nigeria.
Have you heard the latest healthcare news? There's been a medical programming breakthrough. Let's go to Ali and Ron for more.
Thanks, Seb. A Good Samaritan is offering Alexia HTC, a new EMR EHR, to doctors for free. Certainly, this free offer will shake things up in the medical software industry. Alexia HTC is a David pitting itself against the Goliaths, Epic, Cermer, and Meditech, which are old and cost too much money. What happens if you figure out how to build a new EMR EHR on the web for pennies on the dollar? You give it away to the suffering physicians for free.
Want to learn more about how these two powerhouse solutions will help you win more business? Schedule a demo below. In just minutes, Alexia HTC can help you access a patient record, enter an order, write a note, prescribe a medication, generate a charge, and create a super bill. Plus, Alexia Care Corporation, the vendor of the new web application, offers full customer service and training support free of charge. Who can beat that?
Nigeria is a place where we're telling you that there's a lot of insecurity. There is a lot of election fever. Peter Obi, Bola Tinubu, Atiku Abubakar, all these guys are fighting for power. They want to be the next president. Interestingly, we look at the campaign. There are no issues discussed. The only guy who even discusses issues on the campaign trail is Peter Obi. Bola Tinubu says he just wants to dance and have fun. The guy is old, he can't even communicate, but he wants to be president. How can they really help their country? At least with Osinbajo, we can see that the guy was trying to do some stuff, but they didn't give him the chance. Obasanjo at least built a farm, the Otta farms, where he's doing agriculture for his people. And in this video, we've been telling you, Africa needs to feed its people first. The leaders need to feed their people. Because of bad leadership, they cannot feed their people. When they feed their people, it's a good sign. So, insecurity is there. Edo State, we saw an attack by gunmen at a train station. They attacked passengers, kidnapped some of them. Then, worst of all, Plateau State. The Speaker of the House was almost kidnapped. Thanks for the quick action of police officers. They would have picked him up, then asked for ransom. So Nigeria is becoming a very, very insecure place, worse than we've ever seen before. But it looks like Buhari is just an autopilot. He allows the plane to fly. He doesn't care about anything. Everything is on instruments. But these instruments are not working. So we don't know what's going to happen to this plane. We hope the plane doesn't collapse before, crash to the ground before Buhari's term of office is over. So it's very, very sad. People are campaigning to be president. They're not talking about the issues. The insecurity is still on. So it's very, very sad. What can Nigerians do? But as Enoch Adeboye, the pastor of a church in Nigeria, Redeem, he was just saying that the politicians don't even care about the people. Then the higher thugs, they call police officers. The police officers are perceived to be murderers in uniform. That's how Pastor Enoch Adeboye refers to them. And we think his description fits what most Nigerians are thinking about. It's really sad, You see all these guys campaigning. Then they bring big crowds. And it looks like crowds are being rented in this campaign season. That's one of the comments Pastor Enoch Adeboye makes. The crowds are being rented. So when the crowds will come out, they will pay them, they come out, and most of the crowds are consisted of people who are jobless. They have no jobs, so they come to these events to have fun and make some money. Then the next day, another candidate would organize his own rally. They will hire the big crowds. The crowds will come out, they give the money, then they clap for the candidates. So it's just like a dance of the forest. That Shoyinka used to say, a dance of the forest. So who is fooling whom? That's what is happening in the campaign in Nigeria. Next, we'll move to Senegal. Senegal too is a country where there are problems, but we begin the show by telling you that Senegal had a bus accident. The bus accident with 38 people killed. So this is terrible. And we feel sorry for the families that have lost so many people. We'll take a moment to feel for them. So President Macky Sall has declared a 3-day mourning for this big loss. I know his government is going to say they're going to investigate to understand the problem. But this is also road insecurity. We need to have rules in transportation. I said drivers need to be monitored. They should not just drive without following the rules of law. So you look at such accidents, they are terrible, and we can only accept it. This is too much. Then South Sudan. South Sudan also is a country in crisis. You see a president who is punishing journalists because they took a video showing him urinating in his pants. So this has become a big issue on social media. And you can remember, South Sudan is a country that broke away from Sudan to form a new country. You think that they will be living in peace, but there has been fighting going on between the president, who is Salva Kiir, and Riek Machar, the vice. The two of them have not really had it easy, so they keep fighting, ethnic conflict over resources. So that's what has been going on in South Sudan. Then we'll take you to Tanzania. We think something good is happening in Tanzania. Samia Hassan is a new president. She took over from John Magufuli. So she's trying to relax the rules of law dealing with the opposition. Now the opposition is free to campaign. Magufuli had made it impossible for anybody to campaign. At least President Samia Hassan has allowed the opposition now to start campaigning. We think this is a move in the right direction. We thank her as a female president. We think she's done well. Then in Tunisia, we are back to our African problem. A lot of young people drown on their way trying to cross the Mediterranean to Italy. Who is at fault? Well, the problem is their leaders. The leaders of these countries are not doing well. So they are allowing their people to go and look for greener pastures. So this is not good. Then what about Pape Alé Niang? Macky Sall needs to release this guy from Senegal. He's a freedom fighter. So people are on the street asking for his release. Then in Senegal also, the tirailleurs, the soldiers who fought a lot of colonial wars for France, finally they are getting their pension. They have been fighting for this for so many years, and I'm happy for them. Les tirailleurs, the guys, they are street shooters, sharpshooters. So they are finally getting their pension from France. I think this is a welcome sign. At least they will have some money. They are paying them for their service. It may not be much money, but at least they are getting the money. Okay? Then Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe has done a lot of nice stuff. But before we talk about Zimbabwe, we want to tell you that in Zambia, Kehinde Hichilema has worked with the parliament to write a law to abolish capital punishment. So we think that's good. We're going to end our show today by focusing on Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is led by Ernest Mnangagwa. He organized a coup d'etat against Robert Mugabe, And initially, people did not really like him because they felt it was just a continuation of the same government. But we think the effort that he has made to introduce mechanized agriculture is very positive. And that's what we really want to talk about in this video. Now, the people have a lot of maize and a lot of grain. So there's a form of agricultural revolution taking place in his country. And this is what we want to see in many other African countries. So we salute President Ernest Mnangagwa for making this effort to really feed his country. Other African countries should emulate the example of Zimbabwe. From the colonial time, Zimbabwe has done a lot in agriculture. So you had the big white farmers who had a lot of the farms, but because of land reform, Mugabe took a lot of those farms from the white farmers and gave them to his party members who could not really manage the farms, so the economy collapsed. So we think it's a good thing to take farms from white people and give to black people, but the only thing is make sure that the black people know how to run these farms so that they're educated to run them well. That's what needs to be. And we see the mechanized system now in Zimbabwe. We salute it, and we think Ernest Mnangagwa is doing a good job. We even have a document which shows you the revolution in agriculture in Zimbabwe. We can share this with you because this is something positive. We don't have enough time to talk about it. To end the show, we're going to look at the businesses that are advertising on the show. Afrizi.com, support Afrizi.com. Support Ayuk Tax Service. Support by Tech 97. Thank you very much. May God bless you.
Medical practice software is too old. Indeed, all the programs are built on MUMPS, technology of the 1950s, and the programs cost too much money. Epic and Cerner cost billions of dollars. Meditech costs thousands of dollars too. In fact, that's why we created AlexiaHTC.com, a new and free EMR/EHR for doctors. AlexiaHTC.com is built for HIPAA. Yes, magical one-screen technology, ease of use, quick charting, amazing e-prescribing, tight labs integration, multi-office difference, because we believe doctors and patients need a break today. Be the first to test drive AlexiaHTC.com. You have nothing to lose, you have everything to gain. Act now. Call 240-350-1131. Alexia Care Corporation at AlexiaHTC.com. Selling a service or a product? Need buyers? Use the African Nation TV as a channel to reach many viewers. Act now and call Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131. That's 240-350-1131. Act today.